Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop. I do a lot of work with combat wounded veterans, and as a result, often get asked about flag cases. I've got some ideas on how to make one. I'm going to walk you through the process. Stay with me. I'm Rob Cosman, and welcome to my shop. We make it our job to help you take your woodworking to the next level. If you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and don't forget to turn on the notification on your mobile device so you'll know every time we release a new video. Good? All right, back to the bench. This is the flag case owned by Jesse Paratus. And Jesse was the wounded vet that originally set me on this path of running the Purple Heart Project and helping combat wounded veterans deal with their, we'll call it severe baggage from war zone through hand tool woodworking. This is his flag that he gave to me, and I'm going to upgrade the case. But the problem has been, I can cut dovetails here, no problem. It's a 90-degree corner, but very difficult to cut dovetails, even almost impossible down here with such a sharp corner on these two ends. But I've got an idea on how we're going to do that and actually make it look really nice. So I'm going to walk through the process. So first, I'm going to dovetail this top corner with a mitered front edge, because this is going to be mitered and this is going to be mitered. We can take the dimensions right off of this case. There's no reason to change that. In fact, I like the thickness based on just the proportions of it. I think that's 5/8 of an inch. It's actually, yes, it is 5/8. So this bottom piece, 17 1/4. So we need 1 17 1/4. And I think that looks to be about 2 3/4. Oh my, it's 3 5/16 by 5/8. And then these two pieces are going to be the same. They're 12 1/4. So we need two of those, 12 1/4 by 3 5/16 by 5/8. So next thing I need to do is plane the inside. You always want to have the inside of your boards planed and pre-finished, because if you cut your joint and then do it, it'll impact the way your dovetail is going to fit. So I'm just having a boo at this to see if... I think I'll kind of have this darker color on the inside and save the outside. I'll save the lighter stuff for the outside. So clean these up. I'm using a Wood River 5.5, which is my go-to plane. And if you're new to hand planing, we did a video called 32 seconds to sharp, and literally that's all it takes to put a good edge on it. A little bit of wax just reduces the friction. And then as you plane, you just advance the blade until you get the kind of exposure or depth of cut you want. Okay, so we've got to cut a what's called a mitered edge dovetail out here. These still have yet to be cut to length, but we'll do this first. And I've done a video on this already. We'll leave a link below on that, but I'll go ahead and get that dovetail cut, and then we'll address these corners down here. Hey, if you like this video, we have more. Our newsletter has subscriber-only content, monthly discount on tools, and anything we bring out that's new, subscribers get first crack at it. Click on the link below. Let's get back to work. So I'll identify the waste. This is what's going to be removed. We just do a regular dovetail on the back side. We're just applying the miter on the front where it's going to be seen. And when it comes up to here, this gets removed. This gets removed. But we've got to draw or scribe a 45-degree line. Go right from the gauge has made a cut down into the wood. And I need to start my mark from the point right here. So you have to kind of see past where that line is and make sure you're marking it from the appropriate spot. We'll go in there and just a couple of light passes, each time going a little bit deeper. And we'll add this to our waist. Okay, so for this one, flip it around, hold it up relatively high. We want to make sure it's standing plumb. And we've got to cut from here down to the baseline. That's why I say it's similar to cutting a half blind. Now, I want to be able to get all the way down there. If that's not stiff enough, you can always put another board behind it, but I think it'll be all right. So the first thing I want to do is get my cut square across the end. Okay, now I can go. Now, on the pin board, I've got to do the same thing. It'll line that up. Always easier to take multiple light passes than to try to do it with one heavy one. And we'll put my blade in there, hold it plumb. Okay, these are cut, all cleaned up, ready to assemble. We've got to cut each of these, the ends, 22.5 degrees. And I'm
just deciding. I think what we should do next is actually cut a groove on the front to house the glass. We'll cut a rabbet on the back so that we can then, the glass will have to go in when we assemble it. But then we can put the flag and the back in, set the back into the rabbet, and make it a lot easier. All right, we'll clean the rest of that up after it's assembled, and we take it right into that corner. I want to glue all of the long grain surfaces on the pins. Glue splatter all over. Now, I'll use a block. Check it for square. That looks good. Now, let's check our miter. I'm going to do this in a couple of passes, so I can do one final pass that acts like a cleanup. Now, of course, when we're done, there really isn't going to be anything to write on. It's just going to be a point. So what I'm going to do, I've already squared that end on the shooting board. I'll set this piece like so. And I know that the top of this is parallel to the bottom of this. So if I set a block on like that and clamp it in place, there's our top corner dovetail. Now we can take our second piece and we'll be able to tell right away whether or not we're going to have to alter this. That's still going to fit the flag. We'll line up the inside corners. So we're going to have to cut these a little bit shorter than we'd thought. And I'm not going to rush doing it, so we'll go over, we'll make the cut, and we'll just sneak up on it as we need to. I'm going to put a couple of lines on there if I can find a nice sharp pencil. So that's a ½ inch up from the point. from that point. Now when I try to line these corners up, I'm paying attention to the inside corner. So when this one is in place, this one is too long. But I just noticed, if I check this one, it is 12 1/8. And this side is 12 and strong 3/16. So I've got to shorten this a little bit. Okay, we've got both of these legs are both at 12. So we can leave that alone. That makes the bottom one a little bit too long. If we balance it out so that they're over by the same amount, meaning this is sticking out and this is sticking out, I still think that it would benefit from just maybe a 1/2 degree. In other words, instead of, if we're sitting at 22.5, it may be off that small amount, but we need to take a little bit off the heel. And we've got to shorten this anyway. So I'm going to do it on both sides. Because if the angle was on, and we position it so that it's at the same point on both sides, we would have, actually, you know what, it's not bad. But I still think we could benefit from just a little bit. Okay, good. We got it. Wow, that was a lot of, that was luck. A lot of work too. Getting it so those angles were perfect. Now I ended up taking off just, I wouldn't have turned it, adjusted it 1/4 degree, but we clamped that pulls in nice and tight. Okay, so with that done, and that's actually a pretty good cut, I'm going to go with that right off of the saw. I'm going to come in and clean this up. If I clean this up now, then I don't have to plane all the way around like that. I'll clean this up, so then when we attach this, we'll just have to plane this one down to this one. That's the plan. Same thing on the back side. These little whacks. Oh, actually, that's good. That's nice and clean. One pass. That's all it took. Okay. The edge is all nicely planed. Everything is flush. And if I can keep it just like that, so all I have to do is just a light touch up, that'd be ideal. So now what we have to do is we've got to be able to clamp this effectively. So what I'm going to do, just like I use on my other flat miters, I'm going to make them out of MDF. We'll put a piece here. I'm going to put a piece over here. Now I'm going to stick some sandpaper on the inside of this, meaning on the inside of this. But I want to be able to clamp across the joint like this. So if I had my math, if I had paid attention to math class, I could have been able to figure this out. So I want the pressure to come right about through here. And I want a flat surface. So I need to have a line that is a surface that is parallel to this one. So if I put my straight edge in there like that, oops, can you hold that like that? And then I'll do the same thing down here. Now I can move it a little bit, so I want it right about there and right about there. So I'm going to cut this area out cut that area out. Okay, so these are in place. This is just a dry run. I set these back 3/4 of an inch from the edge, so they're all the same. 2 clamps, one top, one on the bottom. The sandpaper is such that 1 clamp's all you need to hold that in place. And it allows you to get that nice and clean. It looks nice and clean on that side as well. Now, I normally make these out of hardwood just so that they'll last a lot longer. The MDF's not terribly strong, but it's certainly strong enough in this particular application. So next move is to cut our piece of plexiglass, and we should. If you're going to put a finish on the inside, you're going to want to do it now because you're not going to have to work around that plexiglass. I think what I'm going to wax this, so I'll go in and I'll wax that inside surface. Then we'll cut and put our piece of plexiglass in, and then we can go ahead and assemble, just like we have right here, and glue it up. So. Come on, get in there. Now this is going to be too long to add to this video, so we'll do it in a separate one. But what I'm going to do is outline a dovetail by using a kerf cut with the dovetail saw, and then fill that kerf with ebony veneer, and it will outline and look like a dovetail. Obviously can't cut dovetails on a steep angled corner like this. So to keep it looking like the rest of the cuts. So I got them laid out on both sides, but I only really need to use one. And now I've got to make a saw cut carefully. I'm using the tape as a means of determining the depth of the cut, which, among other things, it's nice and easy to see. Okay. Final step before we put a finish on, we want to go in and cut a chamfer. Not so much for visual reasons, but more so for comfort. And you pick it up, you don't want to be grabbing a sharp corner. I want to pay attention to grain direction. Actually, I think I'll put this back in the vise. It's a little bit awkward to hold on. You're going to do this, you want your throat closed down tight on your block plane to control or to minimize any tearing. I rub my knuckles of my left hand on the board to maintain the angle. And again, we just want to break that corner. Should be how I have gone from preferring to spray with lacquer to using oil. Well, I shouldn't say to using oil, or using oil. And I started messing with this wax and was real impressed with it. It leaves a really nice finish. There couldn't be anything easier to apply. You don't seem to get any benefit from more than one coat if you follow the directions. You wipe it on, you wipe it off. Now I put some masking tape on the plexiglass just to keep that from getting all over.
Okay, so that's after the wax and buffed off. It feels wonderful. And it looks good too. I love that matte finish that it gives. I'm going to clean the plexiglass up a little bit, but now I want to get this back in. So I roughed out a piece of 1/8" Baltic birch. And I want to fit it perfectly to it. So first thing we'll do is get a straight edge that we can reference off of.
I'm going to be really careful. These break so easy. They're sitting flush. So, there. Oop. I hope that's not on the inside. I thought I had gotten it all out, but I might not have. I'll take it apart already. Now you can put little feet. I might put little neoprene feet on there unless I decide to hang it on the wall. If I hang it on the wall, then I'll have to go in and put some kind of a hook on the backside. But this is made out of ash with gaboon ebony accents on the dovetails and a piece of plexiglass. Baltic birch plywood, 1/8" thick on the back, and that looks wonderful.
If you like my work and enjoy my style of teaching, click on any one of these videos and help take your woodworking to the next level. I've always said, better tools make the job so much easier. If you click on the link below, the chisel and plane icon, it'll take you to our site and introduce you to all the tools that we actually manufacture right here in our shop. It'll also give you information on our online and in-person workshops.